we got to take care of the ball better and continue to find opportunities. They hadn't turned it over. And then when their gimmick plays ran out, I thought we played pretty good defense.
I don't even know how the NFL is still holding it together because this season doesn't feel like football anymore. It feels like straight-up mayhem on live TV every single day. Something wild drops, you blink twice, and you're wondering, did that really just happen? And today's shocker, Mike Vrabel came out swinging with no warning, no filter, no hesitation. He aimed right at the one man who's been stretching the patience of every single Browns fan still breathing, Kevin Stefanski. Vrabel didn't soften a single word. He straight up called him a gimmick coach. Yeah, you heard that right, gimmick coach. That's a heavy label to throw around in this league, and he tossed it like it was nothing. October 26th, Patriots versus Browns, a matchup that had everything except what we've all been begging for. Stefanski's offense actually showing up when the clock starts getting real. Smash that like button if you're ready to see Shedeur unleashed, and drop SS100 in the comments if you believe he's the future Cleveland keeps pretending they can't see. Cleveland came out throwing punches in the first quarter like they had something to prove. They looked alive out there. Plays were sharp, timing was smooth, lanes were opening, and yards were stacking up on the ground and in the air. They even punched in an early touchdown, giving fans that rare taste of hope that's been missing for way too long. But slow down for a second, let's keep it honest. Was that truly a strong start, or was it just another perfectly polished, fully rehearsed opening script? You know the deal. The script they rehearse all week, the one that always looks great, right before everything falls apart, the second they have to improvise. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as those scripted plays ran out, the Browns' offense vanished like it never existed. It's 2025 and we're still watching this team crumble the moment they're asked to think on their feet. That's not football. That's a sloppy illusion. And not even a convincing one. And before the Cleveland faithful come charging at me,
but I'm telling you right now, this the real thing. This is the real thing.
Listen, I get it. You wanted to believe that spark meant something. You needed it. But belief without results? That doesn't win games. Football games aren't won by wishful thinking. They're won by smart strategy, sharp coaching, and quarterbacks who can keep delivering long after the opening script fades away. The dog pound knows that. The Patriots knew it from the very first snap. They stepped onto that field fully aware of what they were dealing with. A team leaning on gimmick plays like they were life support. And as soon as Cleveland burned through those rehearsed drives, New England took full control. And Mike Vrabel, he saw every bit of it. Was his gimmick coach comment shocking? Not even close. That's what everybody's been whispering for ages, but too scared to say out loud. Vrabel just said the quiet part loud, and the way instant karma landed right after his word spread was straight up cinematic chaos, because the Browns turned the national stage into a full-blown circus act, and Vrabel didn't miss a single beat. He's been waiting for this moment. He watched the coaching staff look lost, the quarterback left hanging, and the fan base drowning in frustration all over again. But now, the real question hits. Dog pound. Is Kevin Stefanski actually a gimmick coach? And even deeper, why is this man so widely disliked in the first place?
Now, Stefanski, you got to get fired. Because imagine a world where your quarterback is better than you. Imagine a world where your quarterback is more desired than you. The fan base already gravitates towards Shedeur Sanders. The world gravitates towards Shedeur Sanders. Does he have his haters? Absolutely. But jersey sales gravitate towards Shedeur Sanders. There's not a world now where Shedeur can go ball and Kevin Stefanski can continue to be the coach.
Is the criticism fair? Is it exaggerated? Or, and hear me out, maybe he's not getting criticized enough. For a lot of people watching this meltdown, the frustration feels perfectly balanced. Not too harsh, not too soft, just right. And that's because this isn't about one bad game. This isn't a random off night. Stefanski's choices have been keeping this team on the edge of disaster for years. His decisions are getting harder and harder to defend. And no, this isn't a Josh say he is in trouble moment pushing a Shedeur Sanders agenda. This is about shaky drafting, questionable strategy, and an ego big enough to drag down one of the most stacked rosters in the entire league. The kid came out strong in the first quarter, no doubt. He ran those scripted plays clean, dropped a touchdown to give Cleveland that early 7-3 lead, and executed everything by the book. But pressure-heavy NFL football demands more once the script ends. You need a quarterback who can adjust on the fly, make something from nothing, and fight back when the defense punches first. And Gabriel, listen, he's not there yet, not even close. He's a rookie who got tossed straight into the fire with no lifeline, no protection, and no real plan behind him. Is that his fault? Absolutely not. The real blame falls right back on the coaching staff, especially the man who still can't figure out what's actually breaking this offense. Which brings us right to Shedeur Sanders. And no, this isn't some reheated recap of what everybody already knows. His talent is obvious. His college run speaks louder than any scouting report ever could.
Dillon Gabriel looked like Dillon Gabriel. His luck finally ran out with the picks. He also gave up a safety. Chris, I've seen enough. I said I've seen enough last week. But if Shedeur can't stay healthy, you're going to get him on the field. He work out on the field before the game.
Yeah, tried to get loose and get ready.
How do you get hurt? They won't even let the kid play.
But here's the one thing nobody can answer with a straight face. Why was he replaced by Dillon Gabriel in the first place? What was management even thinking in that room? And don't hit me with that tired, he's injured excuse, because he's not. Shedeur made that clear himself, loud and direct. So if this wasn't some normal rotation or harmless depth chart shuffle, then what exactly was it? Because if you think this is just routine business, you're missing the entire picture. This decision sparks massive questions, real ones. Questions about team strategy, about how much accountability exists inside that building, about what the coaching staff is really prioritizing, and the message it sends to the locker room and the fan base. It's messy. It's shaky. It chips away at Cleveland's credibility every single week, and until someone steps up and explains this chaos, the speculation will keep growing, the frustration will keep boiling, and the hate pointed towards Stefanski, it's only going to rise because, let's keep it honest, this feels personal. Why would a coach risk a young quarterback's entire career by benching him during his prime development window for a rookie thrown in cold? If Shedeur were truly injured, I'd defend Stefanski all day, but that's not what's happening here. The reality is, Shedeur has the skill, the calm, the high-level football IQ, and the proven ability to lead this team right now. And that's exactly why this whole situation feels like a setup, because no coach with real sense benches a quarterback who checks every single box the way Shedeur does. The locker room sees it. The fans see it. Even analysts who barely talk about Cleveland are suddenly asking what kind of decision-making is happening behind those closed doors. Something isn't adding up, and everyone can feel it. If you watch the body language on that sideline, it tells the whole story. Players look confused, frustrated, and straight up tired of pretending everything is fine when it clearly isn't. You can't fool a whole roster. They know when someone deserves the job, and they know when someone got benched for reasons that have nothing to do with football. Because let's keep it real. Shedeur wasn't losing games. He wasn't falling apart. He wasn't buckling under pressure. He was doing everything a young quarterback is supposed to do. Learning, growing, improving, showing flashes that get a city excited. And instead of building on that momentum, the coaching staff hit the brakes like they were scared of his potential. And here's the part nobody wants to talk about. The Browns look different when Shedeur is on that field. The energy changes, the offense moves, the players trust him. You can see it in the way they run routes, the way they block, the way they communicate. That spark is real, and everyone in Cleveland feels it every time he steps out there. But instead of leaning into that momentum, Stefanski keeps doubling down on decisions that make no sense. It's like he's trying to prove a point nobody asked him to make, and the only ones paying the price are the fans and the players trying to win games. This isn't strategy. It looks like stubbornness wearing a headset. And if the Browns keep going down this road, it's not just the season that's in danger, it's the trust inside that building, and once that goes, everything falls apart fast. And that's why the frustration in Cleveland is hitting a breaking point, because every week it becomes clearer that this isn't just about football anymore. It's about pride, ego,
but what Kevin Stefanski is telling all of us straight to our faces.
And a coach refusing to admit he might be wrong. Fans aren't blind. They're watching the same games, the same patterns, the same collapses after those first scripted drives, and they're tired of being told to trust the process when the process looks broken on live TV. The crazy part is how obvious the fix looks from the outside. You've got a young quarterback with real talent, real poise, and real upside sitting on the bench while the offense keeps stalling out. And every time the camera cuts to Shedeur on that sideline, he looks ready, locked in, focused, calm, like someone who's done waiting for permission to prove himself. Meanwhile, Gabriel is being asked to carry a weight he wasn't prepared for, and that's not fair to him either. He's out there trying his best, but every mistake he makes gets magnified because the whole situation feels forced. The pressure on him is unreal, and you can see it in his face after every missed read and stalled drive. This isn't development, it's desperation, and the fans feel it. The stadium energy dips the second the offense slows down, and you can hear the tension in the crowd, like everyone's waiting for that moment when the coaching staff finally wakes up and makes the move everybody knows is coming. It's like watching a pot boil over in slow motion. You can't stop it, you just know it's about to get messy. What makes it worse is how the national media is starting to chime in, and once they get involved, oh, it gets loud fast. Pundits questioning the game plan, analysts calling out the quarterback rotation, former players raising eyebrows on live TV. Everyone's asking the same thing. How long can Stefanski keep pretending this is normal?
He might even play Bailey Zappi before he played Shedeur Sanders. He might go ask the Baltimore Ravens to trade back for Snoop Huntley before he plays Shedeur Sanders. He might even go ask the Bengals to trade Joe Flacco back so he can be the starter before he plays.
Because at some point, something has to give. The fans want clarity, the locker room needs direction, and Shedeur deserves a real shot to show what he can do. Every week this drags out, the pressure grows, the noise gets louder, and the spotlight gets hotter. And Cleveland can't afford to let this turn into another season of regret. And this is where the whole situation starts feeling explosive, because you can only ignore the obvious for so long before the tension snaps. The players might not say it on camera, but you can see it in the way they interact on the sideline. The confusion, the doubt, the side-eye glances after another stalled drive. That kind of energy doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It builds up when the locker room feels like the decisions being made don't line up with what they see in practice every single day. And trust me, players know who can ball. They know who's ready. They know when someone has the juice to lead an offense. They don't need a press conference to tell them. They see it in drills, in walkthroughs, in the huddle. That's why the vibe feels so off right now, because the guy with the spark is sitting on the bench while the season keeps slipping away. Meanwhile, Shedeur is handling all of this with the calm of someone who's been in the spotlight his whole life. He's staying locked in, staying supportive, staying ready, and that scares people. A young quarterback who stays composed through chaos, teams dream of that, fans crave that, but instead of letting him grow on the field, he's stuck watching from the sidelines like a guest instead of the future of the franchise. And the longer he sits, the louder the questions get. The fan base is heating up. Social media is a battlefield right now. Every thread, every post, every highlight turned into a debate about why the Browns refuse to put their most talented young quarterback on the field. You've got fans arguing with each other, reporters dropping hints, former players calling out the staff. It's a whole storm forming over one decision. And here's the part that makes it even heavier. Every week Shedeur doesn't play is another week of missed development, missed chemistry, missed opportunities to build something real with this offense. You can't get those reps back, and the Browns...
The only way this Cleveland Browns team gets better this season or into next year is if Kevin Stefanski is not there.
Who have already lived through decades of quarterback mistakes, can't afford to waste another chance at building a star. If Stefanski keeps pushing this timeline back, he's not just risking a season, he's risking the future, the locker room trust, and the belief of a fan base that's already hanging by a thread. And here's where everything takes an even sharper turn, because people inside and outside of Cleveland are starting to wonder if this situation is bigger than football decisions. When a team keeps making choices that go against logic, against performance, and against what the locker room clearly believes, you start asking yourself, what's really driving this? Because it doesn't look like strategy anymore. It looks like pride battling reality. Stefanski keeps doubling down like he's trying to win an argument instead of winning games. And the wild part, every time he does it, the noise around the team gets louder. Reporters are circling the story like sharks, waiting for someone inside that building to slip up and reveal what's really going on. And the players, they look like they're tired of being put in the middle of something that shouldn't even be a controversy. You can see it on the bench during games. The side conversations, the long stares, the frustration bottled up behind helmets and shoulder pads, that's the look of a team that knows things could be different if the right quarterback was given the shot he's earned. And the fact that everyone sees it except the person making the decisions, that's the kind of disconnect that destroys seasons fast. And Shedeur, he's doing everything right, and that just intensifies the pressure on the coaching staff. He's staying professional, staying locked in, staying supportive. And that calm confidence hits different when the guy in front of him keeps struggling. It makes the gap impossible to ignore. And you can bet the locker room notices every second of it. Meanwhile, the fans are done being patient. They're tired of excuses. They're tired of watching potential burn on the sideline while the same predictable mistakes play out on the field. Cleveland has been through too many quarterback heartbreaks to sit quietly while the most talented young star they've had in years gets held back for reasons nobody can explain. And if the Browns keep pretending everything is fine, they're going to lose more than games. They're going to lose the trust of the city, the spirit of the locker room, and the momentum of a future that could be bright.
But 92 the fan is, they kind of be pushing an agenda. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, their media structure is like weird as hell. It's like one person on the show hates Shedeur, the other person gotta like Shedeur. It seems scripted. I just gotta be honest, bro. This whole narrative in Cleveland, the way y'all media is structured, seem very scripted and whitewashed.
If someone finally steps up and makes the move everybody knows is overdue. So benching him doesn't just make people raise eyebrows, it makes the entire football world freeze and ask what's really going down behind those closed doors. It's one thing to stick to a game plan, but it's a whole different situation when you start sacrificing a young player's momentum, confidence, and growth just to force a decision that isn't backed by performance. And when the alternative on the field isn't clearly better, that's when everything starts looking suspicious. That's why this whole thing has become painful to watch. That's why the frustration is boiling over. And that's exactly why the chants are getting louder by the day. People want change, and more fans are calling for Stefanski to go because the excuses aren't landing like they used to. Right now, the only voices still defending Stefanski's choice to bench Shedeur are a few radio personalities on 92.3 The Fan. And even that support sounds scripted, stiff, and way too polished, like they're reading from a screen instead of speaking from their gut. Nobody's buying it anymore. So, here we are, dog pound, waiting, watching, side-eyeing every update like a plot twist is about to drop because something spicy is definitely on the horizon. You can feel it building. And when it finally hits the fan, you already know we'll be right here breaking it down piece by piece. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with the squad so you don't miss a single second of this wild ride. Drop your thoughts below. Do you agree with Mike Vrabel? Is Kevin Stefanski really a gimmick coach? Or are we all watching the same tragic pattern repeat for the 100th time? Let's hear it. Dog pound. Peace.